Hi. Yeah, thank you for the invitation. I prepared a very long speech. No, I arrived yesterday and I had to organize the food today, and there are 4 refugees who helped me today, and we cooked at Amman Space Theater. He has a kitchen, he's from Afghanistan, and yeah, you have just eaten something today, and later in the evening we are preparing things from Syria, from Eritrea, and from Afghanistan, different things. And these 3 or 4 refugees were part of the project, and yeah. So it was a long day, so I really reduced it only to the project I've done 4 weeks ago. And I will start with the thing I saw yesterday in the TV. It's the director of the Victoria and Albert Museum. It's a German. And he was asked why he quit his job. Victoria and Albert Museum is one of the really famous and in the moment best visiting museum, and he's very successful with all his exhibition, and he quit his job. And yesterday he told different things and why he quit his job. One of the reasons is he said, or he will say, I can't do any more nice exhibition because of all the things happening in the world in the moment, even in Europe. And this is one of the reasons. And he liked, of course, he can go on with his work there, and he think he's doing a lot of good things in this Victoria and Albert Museum, even social projects. But he thinks that he wants to do more on the history and what happens now. And he will say also that the museum has to do more in the moment. You have to be more radical, and it's not, the thing is not only to do exhibition, to do more. And I will show this because in the beginning of the year I'm doing site-specific and works in public space, a lot with relate to the context of the space or of the social environment or what happens in the society. And I had a work, and I had also I just had the space, and I want to do an artwork. So, but as the time went by with all these refugee things in this last year, I read in a newspaper about social economic, and he said he can't believe it. We are just in the moment we have a lot of problems, but in the future there will be much more problem for Europe. This is only the beginning, and he can't believe it that people writing diploma about the history of an elevator, because it's so boring, and it has nothing to do with the society what they need now. And as he said this, I quit my project, and I thought, okay, a lot of my friends done really the last year a lot of things here. They had the Silence University, a lot of good projects, and they are now very tired. And I thought, what about the next step? I didn't thought about an art project, only more like a social, cultural project, to bring them together, to give them a chance to work, for example, longer in this case was a restaurant, to get in contact with people, maybe to find a job. And at the end of my project, they found jobs, because the people came there and speak to us. They're looking for refugees who start there working. Okay, but I will start with this interview with a small part of this.
Plus viele andere, die für uns arbeiten. Das ist einfach ein großer Tanker, den sie durch die Weltmeere steuern. Und hier etwas mehr Freiheit zu haben, um das zu machen, was ich momentan für notwendig halte, sehe ich als meine Aufgabe an. Ich sage auch, obwohl ich das etwas ungern in der Öffentlichkeit sage, aber ich sage auch, mir fällt es relativ schwer, zurzeit schöne Ausstellungen zu machen in Zeiten, in denen Kinder in Nizza von Lastwagen überrollt werden oder im kalten Meer, im Mittelmeer ertrinken. Also sozusagen diese Doppelmoral, die wir haben, wir leben einfach weiter, wie wenn nichts geschehen wäre. Bautzen in den letzten 24 Stunden, 48 Stunden, das sind doch alles Themen, die uns alle betreffen, aber jeder arbeitet so weiter und tut so, wie wenn nichts gewesen wäre. Und ich kann es in meiner Funktion nicht. Ich komme nochmal zurück, weil es einfach auch meine Aufgabe ist, sozusagen die Vergangenheit und die Zukunft eines Landes mit zu verantworten.
Ja.
Okay, I go on because the next question is boring.
Das geht nicht, das ist sonst wie in den späten 20er Jahren.
Und?
Er selbst sowas wie die überaus erfolgreiche Alexander McQueen-Ausstellung hat ja sehr viel von sozialen Verhältnissen gezeigt, selbst wenn es eine Modeausstellung war, eine höchst erfolgreiche Modeausstellung. Also was ich meine ist, Kunst und Kultur sollte vor allen Dingen in diesen Zeiten auch vielleicht generell nicht ohne klare Meinung daherkommen und vielleicht sollten wir alle, die in diesem Kulturbereich tätig sind, mehr aufstehen und deutlich sagen, was wir wirklich wollen. Ich sage es nochmal, einfach weiterzumachen, das geht nicht, das ist sonst wie in den späten 20er Jahren.
Yeah, I will stop now. It's a German lesson, but I found very interesting, and I heard it yesterday, and that was all the thought that I had when I started this project. We can't go on making art every day in exhibition, and you see, yeah, okay, it's nice work, but there happen so many things in the world, and we have to do more. And the last year, I went in theater, I saw really, what is called, I would like to say, shit installation from Ai Weiwei, from a famous artist. The picture is really, there's nothing to do with what the people deserve, and even the theater, every theater made a refugee piece, and most of them were really boring, and some of the theater, they used refugees, they put them in the middle on the stage, but at the end there happens nothing with them, nothing new. Okay, that was the beginning. So then I heard that a friend of mine, he had a restaurant, and a very chic restaurant, and he would like to give it away for 5 weeks because he want to go on holiday, and it's called Juwelier. And so I went home and I wrote the concept, and I called it Juwelier of the East. And I asked some people, I think some people are inside, Ayman, but I will, Aman, I will introduce you later when your picture is in the... I asked some people because I've done some cooking stuff before with refugees. And the first thing when I started, I didn't call them refugee anymore, new Hamburger. And yeah, in English it sounds a little bit strange, but in German it's okay. But because I hated this word, after 1 year it was enough. So I knew just Ayman and some other people and asked him. I knew that they like to cook, and so a lot of my friends gave me other address, and at the end I had a team of 10 people, new Hamburger, and some from Afghanistan, some from Eritrea, some of the most of them from Syria, and so my idea was to take this restaurant and to cook with refugees. So. In the beginning, I get the money from the government, and I told a friend of mine, yeah, I will do this project, and so he posted on Facebook the first thing, hey, you have to go there, it's a really good project, refugees cooking in the kitchen, it's a refugee cooking project, and I hated this post, because one thing, it's an open kitchen, and there was one thing that I don't want, that the people enter the room and say, where are the refugees, like in the zoo. And so I went on and said, okay, I asked all the people who are working normally at this restaurant to stay there and to work together. So at the end I had 2 translators, one for Arabic speaker and the other one for Eritrea. Because not all refugees speaks one language, so it was really a really hyper-cultural project. Because at the end we have spoken, I don't know, 10 languages, and we didn't spoke English. It's funny because none of the new Hamburger spoke English. And yeah, and so the first thing we asked all the refugees to cook at home or to came there on the first day, what they like most in their country. So that was the beginning of the project. No? So this was the first day. And another idea of the project was to have an exchange of the aesthetic view of things. There are really some food that they cooked and that you can't offer here in the restaurant. It looks brown and really a lot of people wouldn't eat it because it's so we try to get. We let them cook and then we speak how can we present them. So we found a way. So we found a sponsor who would give us different dishes, and so at the end it looks like a little bit different. And we saw, yeah. Here's the first things from the first cooking. And the good thing, here's one example. The good thing why I asked all the restaurant, all the cooks to stay there, is that at the end the people who came there didn't saw who is the refugee and who is not refugee. For example, in the front is German from Turkey, from Berlin, the main cook, and the other two women there, they are 20 years in Germany. It's not like, okay, they are only because of they have cough. They are refugees, and so at the end, only our translator, she's German, have I don't know the word for Kopftuch in English. Scarf. Yeah, okay. And yeah, that was funny about. And now we have Ayman on the picture. He's here, somewhere in the back. Yeah, Ayman. He worked in Syria, but very different jobs. But he liked to cook. He wants to be a cook, and he enjoyed. And we found now, as I heard 1 hour before, that he found a job now, teaching. That they teach him to be a cook, Kochlehrer in Germany.
I say congratulations for him.
Yeah, it's really good. Yeah. Here's some aesthetics. Yeah, some different dishes. It's really that's why I choose a noble restaurant, a good restaurant, was that I wanted to present it on a high quality. That was one of my reasons. I don't know why. At the end, it was good because 2 weeks before we started the project, that happens a lot of things here in Germany, in the south of Germany. And so the people came there and say, yeah, it's good that you're doing this. Somebody go out and say, okay, we are working and we are here now in this street and you have to speak to us if you want it or not. But at the end, the whole street, all the neighbors really, they really enjoyed the project. And they passed by, even they didn't eat because we didn't have a place to eat. Because after 1 week, the restaurant was 5 weeks were stopped, we closed. Even Michael had problems to get a seat. These are some different things. You will see it maybe later. Here's, for example, Mokka. Here's, for example, Syrish. He's at Zuckerbäcker. He's a baker from a bakery. He had a big bakery in Syria. And he don't have asyl in Germany till now. And so we bake these things in another restaurant. We asked him if we can bake it there. And he's really, really good. It's really crazy what he's doing. There's another, again, Ayman. All the other people, there are other pictures with you. So one day, the famous Zurich musician Lin Inshallah, she was at Kampnagel. She had a big concert there, and in the night she came to us to eat with her musician, and it was a really great night because all our new Hamburger they all know her. This is one of the stars in Syria, and she's well known as a Syrian pop star for refugees, but she hated to be only a Syrian star because of the refugees. She's not a refugee singer, she's a singer. So, yeah. Another part of the project, there are a lot of pictures later, because of the music. The idea was to bring together musicians from Syria, from Iraq, in different countries, together with Hamburg musician. And here's one example. This is the famous Hamburg musician, Carsten Meyer, DJ Aerobic, on the right side, and on the left side is Said. Is from Iraq. He don't have asyl till now, and they made music together. And they met 5 minutes before they started, and I brought them together, and so at the end of the day they started 2 hours music there without knowing each other, with different culture background, and this is one of your. When you asked me about this hyperculture, so this is one of the moments it works, because at the end they forget about their culture, they make together music. It was the same thing in this project. We have Christians there, we had Muslims there, we had different, but nobody talks about their religions there. We didn't talk about their hard life to get to Germany or nothing. We created our own space, or not our, but their own space, because of they had fun, and to do this what they do, and nobody. Of course, there was small problems, but really small. We had one problem with one cook that he didn't want to he didn't want to speak to the translator because she's a woman. So I said something to her. She translated it, but he didn't want to hear something. All these things happen even in Cultures Project. So it's okay. We have to accept it. But I was happy that on the end of the day he didn't want to get involved anymore in this project. It was good for me because at the end of the day I didn't know how to tell him that it doesn't work like this. So, yeah.
Can I ask something?
Yeah, wait a minute. Yeah.
Where are those musicians from? And what was
now I have more picture of this musician. Yeah, the musicians are from the Embassy of Thalia Theater, Embassy of Hope. It's a group from Ahid. He's working together one time a week, and they are at the Thalia Theater. It's one of the biggest theater here in Germany. They give them a space, and all 2 or 3 months they can make music there, and every week they can go there to make music together. And I met him, and so so he brought a lot of musicians, and this was the opening. And this opening was very emotional because I invited some musicians, but at the end of the day there came much more new Hamburger, and they brought their own instrument, and it was they had like in Germany say Straßenfest, street party, and it was really they occupied the old street. And the translator, Mimi, came to me at the end, and she said, she's very touched because they all want to go home now. They had Heimweg. They really touched this evening because they were so happy with the music and that works together. Even on this day, we had Hamburg DJs. Yeah, so this is another. There are 2 people, Saif. And next to him is Osman. Saif would like to study medicine here in Hamburg or in Germany, and he has to wait because he's German. He's really good. You are speaking really, really good, but it's not enough to study in German. But I think in half a year you will manage it. And I think at the end of the day he will do his doctor and he will be a chef cook in a restaurant at the same time. He has the power. Yeah. On the left hand is Osman, and Osman is from Eritrea. Osman, he worked on cars and he liked to get a job here with cars. And even for him, we found some stages where he can start. And during the project, he get his asylum here in Germany. And so congratulations for this. And so now he can do this stage. And at the end, he maybe can do a trainee to repair all the cars in whole Hamburg, maybe without electronic, because he wants to schrauben. Yeah. This is one thing that I would like to say. Our German Chancellor Angela Merkel and some other people say, yeah, we need a lot of migration. We need people with a lot of qualification, engineering and every people. So, but I choose people with. I didn't thought about this. These were normal people. There are some. Casalinga housewives in this project, or some of the Syrian people learned nothing, but it doesn't matter for me. I was looking for people, for human beings, and not for qualification. Because this project was about to get them a platform to get in touch with other people to get maybe a job or something else. No? And at the end it works. Here's some picture about the dancing scene. Aman, you are not on the picture. Okay, Aman later. But first, Tilmi. Tilmi was one of the translators. And this is an interesting thing because I didn't send out any press release of this project. But the media was standing, since the beginning, standing in the front of the door, and we get really, it was too much. So at the end, all the Eritrean women had to cook, to clean up the dishes, and said after 3 days, we have to stop it like this because it was not part of the project. We didn't, and Tilly done the translation for the Eritrean people, and it was good. And the good thing about this. There were some media like Abendblatt, and the guests from Abendblatt, not all of them, but most of them, came inside to expect to see refugees in the kitchen cooking. So it was really like a zoo. They expected, like, where are the refugees and who is the refugees? And but the thing was that, for example, Selmi, he's German. And he's from Stuttgart. And they're asking, you can speak really, really good German. And so, where are you from? Yeah, I'm from Stuttgart. No, where are you really from? Yeah, I'm from Stuttgart. So, and there were some other things with some guests, like, they read it on the newspaper, the project with refugees. And they came inside and so, I want my German food, like every time. It happens like this. So there was 6 women, so about 40, 50, came inside and they read it on the newspaper that it's an interesting project, but they wanted to eat German food and not Eritrean food. They don't want experimental food. They want the German food like the last years. So I asked them to go home. Even these things happened there. It was like a social plastic, all the things that can happen there. No, even people they hate refugees came there. So, but most of the guests were really interested. And with Tilmi was the thing that it was for me or for the project was good that he's in the service because the people didn't get it who is refugee and who is not refugee. We were all I'm a migrant too and came with here with age of 7. I had to learn the language too really hard, and so we all, in the end, were only migrants inside, and there were even they thought my daughter is a refugee, and this was really funny. And so at this moment, I knew that the project worked. So because they couldn't get touched. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. An Englishman and a Turkish man. There was DJs in the beginning. Yeah, they're here dancing in the street. And here's Osman in the big picture. And I love this T-shirt. It's like this.
You have to translate.
I have to translate. Sorry. So, ich gehöre nur mir. I'm my own person.
I belong only to you. Maybe. I belong only to you.
Yeah, I belong to me.
Oh, to me? Oh, that's right.
Yeah, I belong to me. Yeah, this was one of the musicians I didn't know. He came there with his hood. His guitar is called hood, and he started singing and dancing. It's really funny. And then at the end of the day, it was the DJs were inside and also played, and it was really like a big party. Yeah. Yeah. So Aman, I knew I had one nice photo with you. I like to thank Aman. He's from Afghanistan. He's a friend. So Aman was very important because after this friend of mine posted, hey, refugee canteen or something like this, I asked Aman if he can take part of our project, because Aman is over 17 years here in Germany, and he has his catering service, and he done also projects with Kampnagel, which is an institution here, and with children in the summer, and but he take care a lot of other refugees, like his Salima, no? Yeah, and with her daughter. She's here since 6 months, or 6 months. She's since 11 months here. Have she got an Asyl? No. Aman, hat sie jetzt schon Asyl bekommen? Hat sie jetzt schon Asyl bekommen?
Nee, die sind gerade am 29. kriegt sie eine Antwort.
Ah, okay. She didn't get the answer if she gets Asyl or not. But you have really 2 nice daughters there, and Aman take really care of refugees, and today he cooked most of these things later, and I will go on to work with him. Because it's really great to work with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
I knew his food like 1 year, but I'm really happy to see you after 1 year.
Yeah?
I eat his food like 1 year before.
No, you know him. Hat dein Essen schon mal gegessen, aber hat dich noch nie gesehen.
Yeah, Kampnagel. I have the number.
Ja, alle kennen dich. Everybody knows you. Genau. Yeah, I'm quite finished. Have you got any question? Because the project is not so far away. I went on holiday, and the thing is, there's one important thing is I really didn't I didn't care about it if it's an art project or whatever. But at the end of the day, I was invited here in an art space. Next week, I'm invited to another art space. And I'm also invited at the politicians, to the government here in Hamburg. So the project touched a lot of people. And at the end of the day, the art space next week asked me, it's an art project. Or I told them, but it's not an art project. It's really a social cultural. And they told me, no, it doesn't matter, because you're an artist and you've done this project. And at the end of the day, I thought, yeah, okay, he's right. Because I know some other friends, artists, and they're doing projects that have nothing to do with art, but the government didn't have the idea. So we artists have had the idea to connect people to proof projects like the Silent University, for example. So this is a project that are very, really important, and in the government they have no idea how to create project. So I'm asked, in 2 weeks I'm at the government to because I loved this project. Of course, it was in the media everywhere. Everywhere, everybody talks about this project. So, and it's good for me, but I don't know. At the end of the day, I didn't earn anything in this project. 600 euro. I couldn't pay 1 month my rent, and because it was a luxury project, we had 2 translators. We had to pay everybody. So we had yeah, but I get a lot of interest even from the other side. And here I was in France. There's a wine domain, and he's doing wine. And he asked me if we can do a wine next year. So he asked me to come with refugees next year. It's a really good wine. He's selling for Bocuse in this restaurant, and he asked me to come next year and together with the refugees, he'd like to do a wine, which we promoted, and the money we earn, we will put it in a new social project. So maybe this is the future for me with this project. I don't know it. I have a lot of appointments the next weeks, and I don't know where it ends, but I like to go on, and it was really a lot of fun, and thank you very much that just 4 people there. It was a good experience. At the end of the day, I went home and I had a little bit the feeling I'd done something which is okay.